Hello. So today we're going to be taking a look at our top movers feature and using that to surface interesting company and industry for us to take a look at. So we're looking at our top movers feature here using a baseline period of 365 days and comparing to the last 7 days. We're also filtering just for environmental, as the story we're focusing on today is more of the environmental lens. So we see Union Pacific here as one of our top sentiment increases for the past 7 days compared to the baseline. So instead of comparing to the other companies on our top movers section, we're really just going to focus on the railroad sector itself and compare apples to apples here. So now that we see Union Pacific as a mover, we can go to our group analysis. And this piqued our interest for a few different reasons. One of them is because we've been focusing a lot on the transportation group of industries, but mostly in terms of electric vehicles, the consumer facing aspect of that. And we haven't really taken a big look at railroads as the sub industry. So today we're going to spotlight just the railroads and take a look at the past 90 days to take a deeper look at the Union Pacific news as well as some other companies in the industry. So from our ESG scorecard, we can see here Union Pacific is indeed has the highest impact score for the industry over the last 90 days. Canadian National Railway and Norfolk Southern, who also feature in our content this week, are in the top three. The industry, size-wise, is not made up of that many companies compared to, say, cars or electric vehicles. Probably gets a little bit less attention in the media than that industry as well. So, today we're going to take a look at railroads and see what's going on here from an environmental standpoint. So we're going to start with Union Pacific because that was our top mover. That was the highlight that we want to take a look at. And the big news for them is investment in new battery electric locomotives. We see a clear goal for 2030 and then a larger goal by 2050 to get to net zero. So this is a big step for Union Pacific. They're trying to reduce their emissions by 2030, and going to electric battery-powered locomotives over diesel is going to be a big, meaningful step to accomplish that for them. The company also said in a recent earnings call that this was one of their most profitable years. So it makes sense that this CapEx is coming on the heels of that, and they're looking to the future and solidifying their position in the industry where there really aren't too many players, at least in North America. So one of the other companies that we wanted to take a look at is Canadian National Rail. We see their sentiment isn't as high, but they do have the second highest impact score in the past 90 days. And a lot of that was due to their earnings call. The negative stuff that we see had to do with some discussion of weather-related exposure, which makes sense because trains are heavily influenced by outdoor climate. So the flooding there is makes sense for the industry. But also the company talked about how reducing carbon emissions in 2021 saved them 30 million Canadian dollars in their earnings call. So companies are not only doing things to reduce their emissions in this industry, it actually makes financial sense and business sense, and that they're talking about that in their earnings call. So that was another very encouraging sign to see. It seems like a lot of this was fuel efficiency driven, rather than investing in new electric technology, the way Union Pacific is. But with Union Pacific being one of the first movers to kind of invest and start to roll out these electric trains, it might mean that Canadian National Rail will be close behind. And similarly, they also have a goal for 2030, very clear cut emissions milestone goal on the way to the net zero for 2050. So the two companies we've looked at here so far, both of them have pretty actionable items in place to reduce their emissions, and they have that stepping stone goal for 2030 that we like to see. The last company that we're taking a look at today is Norfolk Southern. They had some pretty interesting news over the past 2 months. Earlier last month they rolled out a new lighter steel rail car that they say is going to be a lot more fuel efficient. And then the other big news that was more recent is rolling out these hybrid electric diesel cranes that are going to save, it says 30 million gallons of fuel. And they rolled out 5 for their terminals in Chicago and Atlanta. And they're going to try to replace 58 cranes over the next 10 years, they said. So that's big news because that's going to really save them a lot of money, it seems like, and also reduce their carbon footprint. Some other minor news: they're redesigning their headquarters. That's going to be LEED certified, and so they're doing other things that are going to make a difference for them, and these things add up. So it's and this is the steel industrial gondola that they were rolled out in December, not last month, but so they're doing a couple different things that's going to help them push the ball down the field when it comes to reducing emissions. And all these companies also seem to have economics in mind, that this is going to save them money as well, and it makes financial sense for them to do so. So a little bit different look for our content today, taking a look at the railroad industry rather than consumer-facing vehicles that we usually do in the past. We can see the topic count here. Also, emissions, sustainability, scope 1. These are all topics that these companies have been discussing just in the last 90 days. So it's refreshing to take a look at a new industry and also see that there's a lot of great progress being made here.